Vrabel was affirmatively using Russini to agitate for an A.J. Brown trade with the Eagles on the most favorable terms possible to the Patriots. The tampering rule could potentially apply.
You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White sports supporters. Well, we know Dianna Russini is no longer with the New York Times / The Athletic. She worked for The Athletic. New York Times owns The Athletic. Dianna Russini quit, and I think most of us realized that she quit probably in lieu of getting fired. In other words, The Athletic had opened their own investigation into the goings-on between Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, Dianna Russini, and, of course, the rest of her career and anything else she's had going on. She probably was like, "Ooh, let's stop this investigation, and I'm out." End of story. I'll walk out of the spotlight. Okay, so that leaves Mike Vrabel, right? And as of right now, it looks like nothing's going on with Mike Vrabel at all. Like he's going to come out of this unscathed, right? This is a football coach, relatively attractive woman, decided to get him a side piece situation happening. Again, we don't know what his arrangement is, but it does lend itself to some potential issues. We're talking about somebody that was having what looks like an affair with an NFL insider that talks to all teams. And what is coming down the pipeline, folks? Most people believe at this point it's a foregone conclusion that probably after June 1, A.J. Brown's going to be a what? New England Patriot. So who's to say there wasn't some inside baseball going on here, right? Some insider trading, so to speak. So what's going to happen with Vrabel? My guess would be absolutely nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. Mike Florio put an article out, and he's talking about Mike Vrabel being unscathed here. Here's what we're looking at, folks. The mere fact that The Athletic launched an investigation shows its belief that, quote, any suggestion otherwise was not, quote, laughable, which makes sense given the high bar the New York Times, by extension The Athletic, applied to its reporters to avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest. Okay, so conflict of interest, it's all over the place in this situation, right? No such standard applies to Mike Vrabel in his job as an NFL football coach. There are other rules that potentially impact Vrabel based on the position he holds, but neither the league nor the Patriots seem to be inclined to explore whether the situation potentially implicates those less obvious or more nuanced standards. Well, if you're the Patriots, why are you going to get rid of your just been to the Super Bowl head coach that everybody knows? Well, shit, the Titans shouldn't have fired his ass, although now, hindsight being 2020, a lot of us are wondering, was there something else we don't know about, that got him run off? Again, I've been the biggest Mike Vrabel supporter in the world till he come out and shit on Christians a couple of weeks ago, playing high and mighty. Oh, wait a minute. You're one to talk. Christians need to be educated. Hope you don't consider yourself one, or you need to be educated. Mike Vrabel. And that was, of course, him talking about his running back, Travion Henderson, supporting Jaden Ivey. When Vrabel meets with reporters, he likely will be asked about the situation. Russini's resignation opens the door. At minimum, a question regarding his reaction to the outcome as to her. And there's a good chance, depending on the credentials issued by the Patriots to the upcoming press conferences, that reporters from non-sports outlets will be present and prepared to pepper Vrabel with that and other questions. And then, of course, like Michael Holley, who works out in Boston for NBC Sports Boston, he's on that channel too. Tommy Kernan and other folks out there covering the team. He thinks Vrabel's going to have to address this with the team. Then that brings us over to this. For Vrabel, there's no possibility. There's no policy. There's possibly no policy regarding fraternization with reporters. Good God. While his employment contract or Patriots' internal policies possibly include something that could be characterized as barring a too cozy relationship with somebody covering the team or league, it's far more common for a news outlet to create clear standards regarding the behavior of a reporter in relation to source than it is for a sports team to create clear standards regarding behavior of a coach in relation to a reporter. There are other issues for Vrabel. This is the part I was interested in, really interested in. Based on the facts, if Vrabel was affirmatively using Russini to agitate for an A.J. Brown trade with the Eagles on the most favorable terms possible to the Patriots, the tampering rule could potentially apply. What? Uh-oh. Of course, the NFL rarely enforces the tampering rule. Yeah, you rarely do. Or if Russini was sharing material, non-public information harvested from other teams with Vrabel at his request, that could be a separate problem. Yikes. Yikes. So, and of course, there is some personal conduct policy things that the league could get into if they wanted to, but they probably don't. I don't know. The league probably wants this to just die on the vine at this point, right? Just die on the vine. Dry up, go away, is probably what they're hoping. And honestly, do I think that's where it's probably going to go? Yeah. Provided other owners, coaches, owners, yada, 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 don't start raising this as an issue, or that social media and the media doesn't get too loud, then it's probably going to die right there. But that is interesting. The idea that Russini could be using her connections, her knowledge of the Eagles organization to be helping out Mike Vrabel and the Patriots in trying to facilitate a trade for A.J. Brown. This is the problem with this having happened. By the way, do I think this is the only time something like this has happened? I'm not talking about just her. I'm talking about any of these other female reporters out there, etc. No, I just that would be hard to believe, considering how many settings all NFL personnel, players, coaches, general managers, owners are in, as well as female media. Not to mention, they all go places and meet up and just everybody's drinking alcohol, gets liquored up. We're supposed to buy that this kind of thing. And honestly, that may be why the league and other teams, that's why it may be quiet as a church mouse. Because there may be an underlying acceptance that this is business as usual. See what I mean? And if it is, the NFL doesn't want that. They don't want that curtain peeled back. The media doesn't want it peeled back because they're involved, like Dianna Russini. And then, of course, everybody in the NFL, regardless of position, they don't want it out there. There'd be conflicts of interest everywhere. And everybody knows it. Tell me what you think. Will they even look in the direction of Mike Vrabel? Anybody in the league? My answer are the Patriots. No. Patriots, far they're concerned, they got a good football coach. They ain't got to fuck that up. Nothing to see here. Please move along. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.